So as you saw in the video, right, they put the context of clients and servers into a coffee shop. So the client server model is a way that computers and applications communicate over a network. It's like a restaurant or a coffee shop, right? Whatever is your favorite type of shop, where the client is ordering food from the waiter or a server. Could also be, right, the cashier. So we have our client, we have our server. Well, how does this analogy, right, come back to the cloud? Well, in the cloud, we have a client, which is a device or software. Think of it as your laptop, as your smartphone, that's going to request services or resources over the network. So we talk about the cloud, right? And when we're using our phone, it almost feels like it's magic, right? It's floating in the air. I tell the phone what to do, and I get all this information. Now, of course, there was a pre-internet age, right, where the only way to get information into your phone was from another device, right, by physically plugging in a cable between two devices. Maybe some of you remember LAN parties, right? Local area networks, where you can connect multiple consoles together, right? So nowadays, if you want to play multiplayer, you just hop onto your PlayStation network, to your Xbox network, and then you instantly, right, connect with your friends. That is also happening through the cloud. In a local area network, we had to plug in cables, put the consoles together, and now we had this like local network of devices. Um, so those were all clients, right? All those computers that are requesting resources. So your phone is a client because when you go on social media and you ask for your friend's feed, for your favorite influencers' posts, you're requesting their pictures, their videos, their profile information. So you are the client. You're requesting a service or resources. Now it's not coffee, right, or food. It's actual data, right, over the network. Now, who's actually serving up this data, right? Who's giving you the information, the photos, videos that your phone requested? That's going to be a server computer. It's not some magic, cloud in the sky. There's an actual server rooms, data centers where there's tons of computers stacked together. These are powerful computers or software that provides services or resources over the network. Now, what network are we using, right? What do I mean by network? Well, we're using the biggest network ever known to man, which is the internet. The internet is the largest and most known network. Now, technically, it's a bunch of smaller networks working together, but if you put that together, it is the internet, a massive network. All right, let's go ahead and continue. So yeah, client is your computer, server is the server computers. So the servers are the ones that deliver that information that you're looking for. You ask for it, it delivers. So the client's typically a web browser or an app. So if you're on your computer, it's usually going to be the web browser. Your Google Chrome is the one handling the requests. If you're on your phone, it's probably going to be like an application, right? Like Instagram, TikTok, so forth, that a person interacts with to make requests to a computer, specifically a server. In fact, just bringing it back to real life, right? The TikTok ban recently happened. There's concerns, right, over the data, right, that's being handled, right? Your computer that's a client is here in the US. Some lawmakers had concerns that the servers in China, right, would have access to your information. Now, according to what's going on, right, TikTok assures the public, especially here in the US, that the servers are all here in the United States, the ones handling our data. But when they did shut down TikTok, right, that means that the servers were no longer giving you the information you were looking for. The servers were shut down. Sometimes the servers crash, right? Maybe your gaming network, Facebook had a crash about a year ago, maybe two. That's because the actual data centers, right, that were responsible for giving you that information, for serving you those requests, they went down, so they didn't work. So if those computers go down, then that service goes down. So an example of a server that can host websites is actually one of the services from Amazon. That's the Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, or EC2. So that's the one we're going to be talking about. So that's the type of service that can work as a server. Now, you don't actually have to, have server computers in your home or in your business to host a website. Amazon will do that for you and we're going to talk about what that means in terms of cloud computing. But yeah, client server, your laptop, your phone, right? Usually users are clients, not always though. But for the sake of simplicity, right? Think of the user as the client, and then the server is going to be that special computer giving you your website, your data, your information, your application. Nowadays, there's entire apps, right, that run on the internet. Google Docs, Google Slides, Canva, right? If you've ever done any graphic design. So yeah, you can get pretty much anything over the internet. And as we're going to learn, you can actually get services that help you build software over the internet as well. So yeah, the server is basically going to process your request. It's going to receive it over the internet, over a network, which, by the way, the internet is a real hardware infrastructure. There's cables running from under the ocean, in the ocean, right? On the ocean floor, from countries, from continents. So yeah, there's actual physical infrastructure that makes the internet possible. I think I'll throw an extra video for this week, optional if you want to check it out in this week's modules. But yeah, EC2 instance, for example, will handle the request, it'll process it, and then it'll send it back a response. Did you want a website? It'll give you the web page, right? The homepage. Did you want the photos, right, from your favorite influencer that you follow? It's going to also respond with that, depending on what you're looking for. So some important vocab. Notice the star here at the top right. Remember, if there's a star on the slide, that means it's required learning content that can show up on a quiz. If you don't see a star, then it's optional. So some important vocab that we're going to throw around a lot. IT or information technology. IT isn't just your IT guy that works with computers or IT girl, right? It's basically the entire field of technology of handling information that includes computers, software, networks, other technologies to store, process, transmit, and retrieve data and information. So another important vocab is software, which is a synonym for an application. If I say software, just know it's also an application. If I say application, can also be called software. So it's a collection of instructions, data, or programs used to operate computers and execute specific tasks. Examples of software, social media software, Instagram, TikTok. Productivity software, we have Microsoft Word, Google Slides, Excel, right? Microsoft Excel. Photo editing software, you have Photoshop, Lightroom, all kinds of software, right? Depending on what you need, there's probably a software out there that can help you execute those tasks. So a network is a bunch of computers or devices connected together that communicate and share resources with each other. So in your home, right, a typical home network might have your laptop. Maybe your printer's hooked up over the Wi-Fi. Maybe your TV as well, right? We have a lot of smart TVs now that do have embedded computers in them. Maybe if you have a smart home, right? Maybe your light bulbs are also part of the network. So as long as they're communicating, right, with each other, whether it's through cables, whether it's through wireless signals such as Bluetooth or Wi-Fi technology, that's going to be an example of a network. And then, of course, we already mentioned this one, server computers. It's a real computer. It's the one responsible for the internet, right? So these powerful machines, they're designed to provide resources, services, and other data to other computers. Those other computers, right, the ones asking for it, again, are called the clients. So here's an example or really a visual of the client-server model. We have our requests, we have our response. So the request is coming from our client, typically you, right, your laptop, your smartphone. And the response, once it's processed, the request is processed, the server is going to deliver a response back to the client. Remember, in the response, it might be your social media feed. It might be an entire, the homepage of your favorite website, right? It could be an entire software service, right? Like Google Docs that works over the internet. That's going to be handled here in the response. It's going to deliver it back to the client. In the coffee shop example, right, the client would be the customer, and then the server would be the barista or the cashier, right? Taking your request, taking your order, and delivering back what you want. Coffee, or in the case of, the actual client server model, data. All right, so let's go ahead and check out the next topic, which is, of course, part of our introduction is going to be cloud computing. So here's a little video for you to watch on your own on cloud computing. So this is from AWS.